Good morning, folks. Welcome to another week, another edition of the Morning Glory Sessions. So today's topic, are your thoughts your own? It came about actually because I'm watching the series Vikings, and it's also because I'm a dad of two young daughters, and I also help Gail raise her young daughter. So basically, I'm sort of responsible for three young kids, three young girls under the age of 7. And then I've got Rory. I'm looking helping Gail look after Rory as well. But basically, what it was after the weekend, I was watching UFC, and Gail and I watched the series Vikings. And Gail is absolutely in love with Lagatha and the Shield Maidens. If you haven't watched Vikings, it's an unbelievable series. Get involved in it. But what it was, which it sort of made me realize that in the story of the Vikings, their sort of history of the Vikings, the Shield Maidens, they went to war with the men. They lived and breathed with the men. They had the same rights as the men. They were treated the exact same as the men. Jimmy, how's it going, mate? They were basically as big a warriors, good warriors as the men. And then I was watching the UFC the weekend, and two of the best fights I've seen was your woman, what do you call her? God, Shevchenko. Her name's going out of my head. Looking back at me, Valentina Shevchenko, and the other girl, Rose Namajunas or whatever her name's pronounced. I can't remember how to pronounce her name. But these two girls fought, like the four girls actually in the thing fought unbelievably. Now the girl who Rose knocked out didn't get much of a chance to go, but she's also a quarter banger, and it sort of made me think that a question that the way women are treated today, the way women think of themselves in society, is it because they're not capable of doing what men are capable of doing, or is it because men feel maybe intimidated, threatened by them, and through it, and not now, I'm talking about back in the day, and through these generations, they've been the culture that we live in, the way they've been spoke to, the way they've been treated, the way they've been raised, has made them believe that they're almost subservient to men and they're not as capable of doing things as well as men. And is this because men decide that because we're threatened by them, because they're more intelligent, because they're more caring, because they're everything that we're not, that we see them as a threat, and it was our job to maybe use our strength and our ability to bully to prevent them from becoming what they could become. And this is something I've been thinking about all weekend, because it is so, like, when you think about the history of women and like the fighting nations, the Vikings, etc., they were capable of doing just as much as men. And even as when I started MMA, the thought of women doing MMA was laughed at. It was a joke. But now you look at MMA since Ronda Rousey came on the scene. Our women MMA is phenomenal. It's some of the best fights you'll watch are the women fighting. And then I thought back to Leah, a girl I trained, Leah. She's now doing unbelievable in the MMA scene internationally. And I remember telling her to start it. And because I told her to start it, she's flying through it now. She's getting in the Bellator, and she's building a real good reputation and name for herself in the MMA scene. So it made me think to myself, is like, as men, as fathers, especially as father, I'm a father to two young daughters, like I said, and then I'm helping raise Lucia. Our influence, the male influence that we have, is going to have a direct response on their beliefs, and our ability to encourage them to become more is paramount to them, to their success. That we regard as men, as the father figures, the role model. Is it not our duty to get to allow girls to build our daughters, our grandchildren, whatever, to believe more in themselves, to remove the barriers that society has put up in front of them? That, and I don't even think it's sexist. I actually just think, well, in some cases it is sexist, of course, but I think for a lot of people it's automatic thinking, and we don't actually consider the reasons why we're thinking. And I think we're in the world we're in today, women are seen as less capable of physical tasks than men, simply because men are stronger than women. Biologically, we're just stronger. That's how it is. But it doesn't mean that women are not capable of doing more. And it was the thought of the Vikings, and because I seen Gail, and she was really like she felt empowered watching Lagatha and the Machine Maidens, but watching the UFC, Gail's got into the UFC in a big way, and she loves watching the female fighters because it makes her realize, it's helped her realize that, women are capable of a hell of a lot more than what society has maybe taught them over the last 200, 300 years. And is there a point where, as men, how much responsibility do we have to take for this belief? And if we're not willing to change, if we're not willing to even consider questioning it, are we subjecting our daughters to another generation of them trying to please men as opposed to trying to achieve their own goals? Now, I'm speaking from this from a male perspective, and I'm sure there's some women out there are probably going to give out because I'm not thinking of the way they're thinking. But this is just my own thoughts. It's something that it came to me because I looked at Gail watching those girls fighting, and I could see her, like, the admiration she had for them and the empowerment she felt. I actually said, "There's like, does that make you feel empowered?" She goes, "Yeah," because she was starting to realize. She realized that, on a world stage, you can get recognition from men, you can get recognition from other women, you can be a role model, a positive role model to females, and show other girls what they're capable of doing. And Gail, as a mother, I'm sure, like all mothers out there, they want to be able to be that role model for their children, their daughters, so that they can become more than they ever did. Just like if I had a son, I'd want my son to succeed far and exceed my expectations, exceed my abilities. That's a sign of success as a father. And it really did sort of, because of my daughters, it made me sort of wake up and question the world we live in today. Like the conditioning, like we just know from COVID, the amount of conditioning that's happened through COVID and the amount of fear that the media is able to push on us in the space of 12 months or 13 months. And the way that we're separating from families and we're staying away because we've been told we must do this, we must do this. It's a form of conditioning, just the repetition, of the message over and over and over again over the last 12, 13 months has made us fear other humans, has made us, be willing to give up so much of our lives for this narrative, this story that they're continually bombarding for us. So then you've got to apply that sort of story, that sort of principle to the female story of they're not good enough, of men are better, of you're not capable, of you must clean the house, of you can't get a job. All these stories continually over and over and over again has led to women feeling as a sex, I would say, less powerful than men. And then because men are dominant, shall we say, that message is being pushed more and more and more and more. And there's battle, and like there's a girl that trains me, Marie, she's a feminist without doubt, and I would be sexist towards her just to wind her up. She's a friend of mine, and she'll always bite, and I do it for banter. But I can understand where she's coming from, in the sense that society is very much geared towards the male species and the women is seen as an afterthought, and that it sort of, the weekend really upset me to think that that my two daughters are being brought into a world where they're automatically seen as not as capable as men, and that's not right. Because who are we to say that they're not capable? My daughters are going to be as capable as what their first male influence believes in them. And like myself as the father, then my dad, as like he would be, my daughters would look after my parents would look after my children an awful lot. So my dad would be another male influence on them. And if I buy into the stereotypical male opinion of what women can do, and I push that on my daughters, well, as their first male influence and a very important male influence, that's going to be their story, and that's going to be embedded in their heads, in their minds, for the rest of their lives. Even if they start challenging their own thought process, even if they, read books and get told different stories by other people, they meet a really nice guy who's very honest and, all loving and all that stuff. Ultimately, my influence at their young age is going to be the binding factor to their beliefs and to probably what they achieve in their life. And as a parent, as a father, it really woke me up to this weekend. Really woke me up to thinking, like, Jesus, I have got to be careful what I say and how I say it to these girls, because in a world where it is male dominant and where men do feel threatened by women, and I would say that the reason why it is the way it is because we are physically stronger, we do feel threatened by them, and through generational stuff, we've maybe pushed that story onto women, and it's now come to the point where we're at today, where a lot of females do not feel as as powerful as men in society, or as accepted as men in society. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's women out there who are saying you're completely off the mark. Hey, I don't know. I'm not a woman. I'm just giving my point of view, my personal opinion, based on my thoughts this weekend. So, yeah, that was just basically it. I just wanted to chat about that today, because I think maybe as men we need to realize that the sexist comments, the jokes, and the jokes with guys, yeah, we're never going to change that. That's who we are. It's what we are. And for the majority of us, the vast majority of us, don't do it in a way to put women down. It's just lads banter. I get that, but in front of our daughters, what message are we portraying to them? What are we saying to them? And what influence are we having on them? What influence are we having on their future, on how their thought process, and how they feel about themselves, how they look at themselves, how they think about themselves? Because ultimately, we, like I said, we are their main male influence, and the way we treat them, and the way we speak to them, and the words we use to portray what we're feeling is going to have a massive, massive influence on how they think about themselves. And it's our job, it's our responsibility to make sure that we treat them with as much respect, care, and instill as much self belief as we would onto our sons, because every man wants their son to. That's another. It's a male chauvinistic thing probably, but we want our sons to pass on our legacy. We want our sons to outdo us, to become better than us. But why can't we do the same for our daughters? Why is it that we put our daughters into one box and our sons into another, and we never actually realize that, our daughters, just like the UFC proved the other day, that our daughters are capable just as much as men. In fact, they're probably, because of like this belief that women aren't as good as men, that still sort of permeates through society. If we can influence our daughters to achieve what we believe our sons would achieve only 20 years ago, like the MMA, then we're probably setting up to be stronger role models than any of our sons could ever be, because of the society, the beliefs we have. So yeah, that was just when we ran today, or when we thought process today. Our words have power, and when we're talking to our children, especially our daughters, we maybe, as males, we should maybe consider what we're saying and why we're saying it and how we're saying it, because that could have a direct influence on what they achieve in life. So I'll see you tomorrow, and have a good day.